What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. This is episode 389 for September 4th, 2021. I am JD from New York, and I'm currently in Chicago for All Out Weekend, man. It is going to be a historic weekend. Not only do we get the in-ring return of CM Punk after 7.5 years on Sunday night as he goes one-on-one with Darby Allin. But Daniel Bryan Danielson, and the final countdown to his debut also on Sunday night. That is all but confirmed through multiple sources in the know in AEW, and we all know that he's going to show up. It's not a matter of if, but when Bryan Danielson does show up in AEW, man. Awesome weekend. I'm looking forward to it. I will be live on Monday because I will be attending All Out. I will actually be attending All Out through media, and I will be there sitting amongst the media, and I will be taking part in Tony Khan's post-show scrum after the show is over. Jesse and I will be live with the All Out post-show on Monday, just like we did with Double or Nothing, and it was one of the most successful streams that we've done all year. One of the most successful streams, period, all year for the podcast, that Double or Nothing stream after I got back from Jacksonville. So I'm hoping you guys show up, because I know there's going to be a bunch of competition in the IWC when it comes to getting those live views. But in my case, you guys will have an in-depth live experience about everything that's going on inside the Now Arena in Schaumburg. So it's going to be awesome, and I can't wait to get there and meet you guys, man. It's going to be a great weekend. Not only is it going to be historic, but I'm hoping that as far as what I do and my brand and the podcast, that we have the biggest meet and greet that we've ever put together, man. If you guys want to show up in Schaumburg, I know that AEW is doing their own little fan fest. They got autograph sessions, and they got live shows, and they got exclusive merchandise that you can only get at the fan fest. If you guys want to go to the fan fest, I'm setting something up. I'm setting up what I'm calling a VIP meetup. I don't really like meet and greet. I think it's corny. I think it's lame. Meet and greets. I mean, who the hell am I? And who are you meeting? And all that shit. So I don't like that. I don't like the vibe of that. So you guys are my VIPs. I won't be here without my VIPs. And I want to get everybody together. Cold drinks, good food, and just getting everybody together to talk about this one thing that we love, and that is professional wrestling, man. 8 p.m. on Saturday, September 4th, at the Granite City Brewery. That is literally a 5-minute drive from where the Fan Fest is happening. Make sure you guys mark that down. I will be there. Jesse will be there. Some of my management team will be there. The media team will be there. It's going to be great, man. And Richard over at the Granite City Brewery, he's set apart some of the venue for us, so that we can congregate amongst the other professional wrestling fans that will hopefully be in attendance, man. It's going to be great, and I'm hoping to see you guys there, so mark it down on your calendar. I don't want to do anything on Sunday. Now, you guys are probably wondering, well, JD, the show is happening on Sunday. Why not do it on Sunday before the show? Everybody's going to be headed to the show anyway. The Granite City Brewery is not that far from the Now Arena, but I wanted to maximize my enjoyment, and I can't really enjoy myself fully on Sunday, because when I'm on the day of for the pay-per-view, I got to be zoned in. I got to be sober. I got to be in the zone. I got to get everything ready and coordinated. I got to be my best self. I don't want to be under the influence of anything, but I want to hang out with you guys before with no restrictions, and then I want to attack Sunday and give you guys the best interpretation of what I am going to be around and amongst on Sunday. So that's the reason why I'm doing it on Saturday instead of on Sunday. But I hope that you guys can show up at the Granite City Brewery, man. That is in Schaumburg, 5 minutes from where the Fan Fest is actually happening on Saturday nights. Man, we got a lot to go over. on the podcast today. The big news is not really big news to me because I've been telling you guys for years that this is the case, and now it's just coming to light. Bruce Prichard and Vince McMahon are now completely in charge of NXT. There have been conflicting reports about Triple H and what he is still involved in and what he is not involved in, and how he is still going to be in charge of the daily activities, and he's still going to be in the same position that he's in now with NXT. That is bullshit. Triple H is not in charge of NXT anymore. It is all over. You guys believe any reports that state Triple H is in charge? You're a gullible bitch. He's not in charge. And you can watch the show and know that he's not in charge. You could watch the show and feel that it's not Triple H in charge. And we all know that Vince McMahon and Bruce Prichard, along with Nick Khanman, went into the Performance Center with John Laurinaitis. I can't keep him out of it because he's just as guilty as them all. They all went into the Performance Center. Remember that? Meeting. Little day trip to the Performance Center. What do you think that day trip was used for? To cut everybody away from Triple H and really just maximize on what they will be doing and what they will be taking over. You thought that it was, the bosses are going to come and see what's going on, man. They're really invested in NXT. They want to make it better. They want to fix whatever's wrong. They want to make it a better show on Tuesday night. Nope. They came in, they saw, they eliminated, they took over. That's exactly what they did when they made that day trip to the Performance Center. But what does this mean? What type of power does Vince McMahon and Bruce Prichard have now in NXT? Where does this leave Triple H? What about the new logo? Did Triple H sign off on the new logo? No, he didn't. Triple H had absolutely nothing to do with the new logo. So if he had nothing to do with the new logo, then why would anybody think that this man is in charge of anything? The logo, it's a fucking logo. It's colors on a graphic. He had no say at all in the logo that is the new NXT. We're going to go over it all, what it means. And it's going to be a nice barn burner of a rant. I can tell you that right now. Adam Cole, this is the other big story. More and more information is being released about Adam Cole. Adam Cole wanted his Twitch channel, which we all knew was going to be a bargaining negotiation chip for Adam Cole. They told him outright no. So what this means is, folks, that Adam Cole is no longer with the WWE because of their pettiness to let go of stupid edicts. WWE did not make any effort to sign Adam Cole because video games. It's amazing. I really don't believe that I uttered those words out of my mouth, man. I really don't grasp how absolutely ridiculous any of that sounds. I'm sure it sounds ridiculous to you. WWE made no effort to sign Adam Cole because of fucking video games. It's laughable, man. What is WWE's loss is AEW's gain. No sweat off my back. Also, I got news on Brock Lesnar, what his new contract is requiring of him. Where does The Rock stand for WrestleMania 38 or 39? And does WWE still have plans for Dwayne Johnson and Roman Reigns? What was the internal backstage reaction to Becky Lynch, of all things? Still a hot button topic in WWE. And WWE, do they have plans for a draft this year? If so, when? And who's moving? I got all the news and information that you need today on episode 389 of the podcast, man. Thank you guys for joining me on what I said will be a very historic weekend, Sunday, September 5th, All Out AEW. It's going to be a great weekend. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. We are now verified on Twitter. Thank you guys for all of the support. I could not do it without you. But make sure you guys follow me on social media, man. Twitter is the place. If you guys want to keep up to date on everything happening in Chicago, All Out, random pictures of their shitty pizza. Jesse, I know, bro. Nothing beats a New York slice, bro. Get that deep dish shit out of here, man. Fuck that garbage. and your goddamn fucking hot dogs, man. It looks like slop on a fucking piece of elastic wrap or whatever the fuck they wrap that shit in. What is that? Pickles on hot dog, tomatoes on hot dogs, bro. What the fuck is wrong with you out there? Give me some mustard and that's it. Simple. Keep it simple. Things were simpler, then they would be a lot better. Maybe we should tell that to Bruce. Maybe we should tell that to Vince. Instead of him ripping up a fucking script on Monday Night Raw that I knew was exactly the case as to why that show was absolutely abysmal on Monday night. But anyway, Twitter's the place. Follow me there for all the updates all weekend long with Jesse and the adventures in Chicago for All Out Weekend, man. Also, Instagram, JD from NY206. IG, we're nearing nice little growth on Instagram. We're nearing 10,000 followers on there. I'd like to get to 10,000 relatively quickly, man. So if you guys are on IG, follow JD on IG. If you guys want to support the show, there are a couple of ways to do that. Number one, you guys can go and support via Patreon. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. We got exclusive items only available on there if you guys want to sign up. Great little t-shirt. Nice little dugout mug. Some awesome stuff over there, man. That's patreon.com/JD from NY206. You guys want to go get your t-shirts? You see the links underneath the video screen that you're watching right now. Bonfire is partnered with YouTube. You guys click the link and you will be taken to the appropriate t-shirt that you so desire. So make sure you guys go and do that. All the top sellers are right there underneath the video. Very easy for you. So if you guys want your JD merch, it's as easy as ever to get your hands on a beautiful new top quality t-shirt. Also, make sure you guys go check out all the other videos that you might have missed on the channel, man. We, in preparation, I haven't done a lot of content this week, but there wasn't much news. I got everything that you guys need to wrap up your weekend right here. Dynamite was crazy. We got a lot of news on CM Punk on Wednesday night. Go check that out if you missed it. Monday Night Raw was a complete dumpster fire. We talked about everything that came out of that show. So make sure you guys go check those live streams. They are on the homepage right now. Also, I was live last night for SmackDown, Finn Balor versus Roman Reigns. And then we had AEW Rampage. CM Punk was actually on commentary for the Darby Allin, Danny Garcia match. And Malachi Black versus Lee Johnson. So make sure you guys go check that out also on the homepage if you did not show up live for that post show right here on the podcast. And today's show is sponsored by my great friends over at Blue Chew, BlueChew.com. Use code JD at checkout. We're going to need Blue Chew on Tuesday nights, man. So it's not only Monday, but Tuesday now because WWE is set to kill NXT, and I don't want your attitudes or your moods ruined by Bruce and Vince on back-to-back evenings, man. So make sure you guys got Blue Chew stocked. That is BlueChew.com. You guys can get it for free. Try it for free. All you guys have to do is pay the $5 shipping and handling. That's BlueChew.com. Use code JD at checkout, and we will talk about my friends over at Blue Chew a little bit later on in the show. Let's get into the top, man. Start off with some minor stories, and we'll get this party started here. WWE is set to make, I hope, a big change to WrestleMania 38. Now, WrestleMania has been 2 nights the last couple of years, and I think it's been absolutely fantastic. Not only does it really set it apart from being an overly exhausting 8-hour show that nobody wants to fucking sit there through, it actually creates a watchable environment. It makes it a lot easier for people in attendance to enjoy the fucking show instead of sitting there for 8 goddamn hours watching 90% of what they're watching not mean a goddamn fucking thing. WrestleMania, I usually say, is the worst show all year, and it typically is. It's overhyped. WWE does nothing going into it. They don't really build it as important. They think it's WrestleMania people are going to watch. Why do we have to put any effort into something that we all know people are going to go out of their way and watch? It's fucking WrestleMania. But WWE tends to do that with a lot of things. They just did that with John Cena and Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. They didn't put any effort into that at all. It was very lackluster. The match was great. Very worthy of a main event. But they put no effort into the build because WWE thinks it's John Cena and Roman Reigns. It's great because it gets more people on the show. It gives more people opportunities to be in something important on the show instead of burying them under everything else in the same evening. It's great because you give a main event spot at WrestleMania to somebody that might not be or have an opportunity to be in the main event of WrestleMania. If Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair happened on one night and WrestleMania was all one night, they would have never had the opportunity to main event WrestleMania on Saturday night this year. So I don't know why anybody would ever want to go back to a two-night. It doesn't really matter what anybody thinks in regards to that because it's the wrong decision. Now, I don't want it to end up being where WWE does these two-night things from now on and we get one night with a men's main event and we get one night with a women's main event. I'm not advocating, and nor should it be. Let's move WrestleMania to two nights because we're going to crown the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble, have them main event one of the nights at WrestleMania. No. It depends on what is important. Sasha and Bianca, and it just so happened this year that Bianca Belair won the Royal Rumble. If you look at the grand scheme of things, it was Roman, Edge, Bryan, which was the best match of the entire weekend, and there was really nothing else important on that WrestleMania card in general as a whole. If there was another main event on that card for the two nights, it was going to be Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. So it was just happenstance that Bianca Belair won the Royal Rumble, and she got to main event WrestleMania on Saturday night with Sasha Banks. I don't want it to end up being, yep, we're doing two nights because we're going to give the women one of the main events every year. No. It should go as far as level of important. Now, Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre were important, or as important, or more important than Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, then I would have advocated for that to be the main event of night one. It all goes as far as what is important at the time WrestleMania is about to happen, and the decision should be made about what is going to main event. I'm not going to have Mandy Rose win the fucking Royal Rumble or Liv Morgan win the Royal Rumble and put them in the main event of WrestleMania. Sorry. Nobody wants to see that, and that's not really WrestleMania-esque as far as the main event is concerned. It's all about what is important. Now, WWE is making a big change to WrestleMania 38. They did not advertise two nights for WrestleMania 38 next year in Dallas at AT&T Stadium. Now, Fightful Select is reporting this week that there is internal plans, as of last week, for WrestleMania 38 to be split into two nights. The event will take place on Saturday, April 2nd, and Sunday, April 3rd. This is awesome. This is awesome. WrestleMania should be two nights for the foreseeable future with no change in sight. It makes the show that much more enjoyable, and it's a weekend destination. It should be this way from now on. Us as content creators, I know we're not going to complain about it because WrestleMania this year was two nights, and the earnings and the retention and the audience and the subs and the revenue and all this stuff, as far as we're concerned, is enhanced and multiplied times two instead of just happening on one night. So I don't mind it as far as content creation is concerned, and I think it gives people a little bit of a mental break instead of sitting there through 8 hours. And the roster, I'm sure, loves it as well. They all want a two-night WrestleMania. The benefits for them are great as well. I don't know why anybody would ever go back to the way things used to be as far as WrestleMania. It needs to be a permanent thing. No questions asked. Speaking of WrestleMania and WrestleMania 38, is Dwayne Johnson now out of contention for WrestleMania 38? Now, Ringside News, they've broken many stories in the past. Please do not shit on my friends at Ringside News. They hardly ever get an exclusive wrong. They've broken many stories recently, and they are reporting that The Rock may not be on the card for next year's show in Dallas after all. They say, and I quote, "The Rock's return to pro wrestling is one instance of WWE having to book long-term. Because of his schedule and being ridiculously busy, they were told next year's WrestleMania isn't looking likely for Dwayne Johnson, but Dwayne is a virtual lock for WrestleMania in 2023 at SoFi Stadium." You know, it's all going to really depend on if WWE getting Dwayne, because I know Matt Men Podcast and Andrew Zarian have reported and they've stuck by it. And I listen, I know Andrew, I don't know him personally, but I've hung out with him. I've shared beers with him. I don't think Andrew's the type of guy that is going to release something like that as far as news and speculation is concerned, put his name behind it, and then have it not be true. If he says it, he probably knows a little bit more than everybody listening to him. If he says it, I think it's more than likely going to come to fruition. Because someone like that's not going to put their name on the line for something that big. Because The Rock being back in WWE is a big fucking deal. It's going to be a big deal when this Roman Reigns match happens because it's legitimately the end game for the Roman Reigns tribal chief, head of the table story. And it's going to make Roman Reigns into a god amongst men that I don't think will ever be beaten. And that's what needs to be told. That's the story that needs to be told. Now, we don't know. We're going to have to wait. Honestly, you want my opinion on this? Nobody knows but Dwayne. Nobody knows but The Rock. If he shows up at Survivor Series, I think it's a pretty good indication about us getting this match in Dallas. If he doesn't show up at Survivor Series, then I don't know why WWE would bring him in for Survivor Series and not do the match. Like, why would you bring him in for Survivor Series? If you want him there to sell tickets for Survivor Series, I don't think it's worth it and worth his time. Save him. If he shows up at Survivor Series and we don't get the match, it's not going to make any sense, and WWE will come off desperate. If he shows up and we get the match, great. Great. That's the right way to go about it. If he has time, you do it now. Why do we have to wait another year when he's going to be another year older? Nobody knows how well he moves in the ring. Is WWE going to be able to tell a capable story or an interesting story for another year with this tribal chief story? Will WWE have any opponents left for Roman Reigns? They may have to dip into the recycle bin as far as this is concerned. And worst case, if they have to continue to book another year with Roman Reigns and Rock can't show up this year and only at 23 in SoFi, is WWE going to take the belt off Roman? Nobody wants that as far as that creative decision is concerned. That's the worst creative decision of all. Roman should not be losing this championship. If he's stepping in the ring with The Rock and that is your plan, Roman should not lose that championship until after that match. And whoever beats him, which at this point is nobody, because WWE hasn't done the work to build another superstar to even look credible next to Roman Reigns. So why would they bring in The Rock at Survivor Series if the match is not happening at WrestleMania 38 at AT&T Stadium? It's all going to hinder on Survivor Series. If he shows up, then we get the match next year. If he doesn't show up, then we know. Because I think they're going to want to build that match in anticipation many months out. That's a big fucking deal. They're going to need to sell tickets. They want that show, 100,000 people, sold out immediately or as fast as they possibly can. And if he shows up and the match doesn't happen, A, it doesn't make any sense, and WWE just comes off desperate. Yeah, we got Dwayne in New York City for Survivor Series. Come watch us. Come watch us as we have to require now vaccination passports to enter the building. Give me a fucking break, man. Rock showing up will tell all at Survivor Series. We'll keep an eye on that, but no longer in consideration. Honestly, another reason for that is I don't think people in WWE or whoever Andrew Zarian knows, I don't think people are really keen on Andrew or someone like Andrew, and then the rest of the dirt sheets getting all the news about Dwayne. You think WWE would want to keep it secret. Maybe they're throwing a red herring out there. Maybe they're kind of reeling that one back in. Yeah, we're not considering him anymore. We're going to wait. We're going to wait. Because the news broke already. And they want people to be genuinely surprised. That's always a little caveat to this news and rumors thing as well. WWE likes to play God. They like to control the narrative. So if the news got out, WWE's clearly not happy. So they want to kind of reel that shit back in and say, you know what, he's not showing up, but continue to go about your business. He'll show up when he wants. So we'll see what happens, man. Survivor Series is going to be a telltale about Dwayne showing back up and being at WrestleMania. Just like nothing in WWE is long-term, WWE has no long-term plans for the WWE Draft in 2021, supposedly happening in October. Now, they are planning another draft in October, but it is too early to know what they are going to be doing and who is moving at this point. This will not stop the rumor mill from churning out whatever news it can. And Ringside News asked around about a recent report that stated Drew McIntyre may be on his way to SmackDown. Now, while this is still a possibility because, let's be real, there's nothing more for him to do on Monday night. And by the looks of it, Bobby Lashley, if my My spidey senses are going off. Bobby Lashley may be the WWE champion for a very, very long time if they do want to build a match between Lashley and Brock at WrestleMania, which I think is the right thing to do. Then Drew McIntyre's nothing going on Monday Night Raw. He either goes to SmackDown or he gets stuck in the mid-card challenging for the United States Championship. And that man could say, I've never held the United States Championship before. I think that's kind of beneath him after what he's been through as WWE Champion and holding this company on its back through a pandemic. So, Drew McIntyre, a lot of fans are speculating that he may be moving over to SmackDown. Another reason why that could be true is because Roman Reigns needs opponents. And the one match that they had at Survivor Series last year was fucking incredible. So I would not mind a redo on that one. But, again, nobody's beating Roman Reigns. So, he's moving over there to give Roman some fresh opponents, but he's also moving over there to feed Roman Reigns. So it sucks to be Drew McIntyre, but I think a move to SmackDown will be a breath of fresh air for somebody like that right now is a little stagnant on Monday night. Now, it's a possibility, but nothing is written in stone regarding not only Drew McIntyre, but everybody. Ringside News was told by a tenured member of the writing team that the report about Drew McIntyre heading to SmackDown is neither accurate nor inaccurate. At this point, it is premature because the draft has not been decided. End quote. WWE doesn't have anything planned. They can't even book Monday Night Raw in time. Scripts are being written up at 6 o'clock, only to be rewritten by Vince McMahon. They actually had 3 matches advertised, and none of them happened this year. Or on Monday night this week, rather. None of those matches happened this week. Because Vince McMahon ripped up everything and wanted to go in a completely different direction. So if WWE can't even handle their weekly television show, you think they're going to have plans for a WrestleMania with Dwayne? You think they're going to have plans for a Brock? Bringing back Brock Lesnar? Oh, yeah, we're going to bring him back at WrestleMania. We don't want to do the Roman match yet. You think WWE has plans long-term for anybody? The draft is not even a thought bubble in anybody's mind right now. At all. You know when the draft will be planned? The day before it happens. And it still will probably go under massive rewrite up until they go live with the actual draft show on SmackDown. I don't care. Everybody's like, and I've said it, I've been guilty of saying, and I'm not innocent here, WWE desperately needs to shake things up. You know what I think? End the fucking draft. Merge the rosters. That's what needs to happen. Then I got these geeks, Fox doesn't want, they don't want to mingle with NBC Universal. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you not want better ratings? Do you not want a better product? Are you okay with having the same fucking matches happen every single Monday and Friday night? Fox and NBC Universal? Don't you think a consolidated roster is best for business? Why do we need 2 women's championships? Why do we need women's tag team titles? Why do we need 2 tag team titles for the men? Why do we need 2 world titles? At once upon a time, I was a little optimistic about the draft. I'm like, this could work. WWE's got a loaded roster. Now, after all the firings that have happened, why do we need a draft? These shows are the same every single week. End the fucking draft. Your women's division would be better. Your tag team division would be better. The overall health at the top of the card would be better. New faces would be involved. The mid-card would thrive. But Fox and NBC Universal don't want it because they don't want to mingle with each other. They want what they want on their own, and then everything's got to be separate, like 2 fucking siblings that can't play together in the sandbox. Fucking ridiculous. You're paying these fucking suits and ties $1 billion for a shit product. Don't you think ending the draft would actually be beneficial to what you're actually spending your money on? WWE's got no plans for the fucking draft. End the draft. End the draft and get rid of it. I advocated for it for so long, and I'm just sick and tired of repeating myself every single year. And then people harbor and they go on and on and on about how a draft is needed. Things need to be shaken up. Like I said, I was guilty of it, but what does it really mean? The draft is nothing more than a ratings ploy. They don't really take it seriously. And then when the draft happens and we get new shows and it seems fresh, and we got new rosters on Monday and Friday night, before I would say by the 5th week of this new season on WWE television, you will be getting rematches within a month. So we'll be right back to where we are now with rematches happening every week. Oh, but it's new faces, it's different feuds, but it's rematches every fucking week. How much roster does SmackDown have? Do you see that show every week? It is the same show every week. Look at Monday Night Raw, the segments that we get on a 3-hour program, because they have nobody to cycle through. It's all the same shit. The draft is useless. No matter how many times they want to shake things up, it always goes back to being recycled garbage. End the fucking draft. We do not need separate rosters anymore. Monday Night Raw should exist as its own show, and whatever happened on Raw should bleed into SmackDown. This is not the National and American League. I'm sorry. It's fucking ridiculous. They can't even do that right. There's 2 leagues. You got Raw, you got SmackDown. It's not the Major League Baseball fucking National American League. Why do we need 2 fucking divisions of WWE? None of it comes off like a legit draft either. None of it. Oh, they got Stephanie McMahon standing on a fucking podium reading off a goddamn cue card. Who's going where? They don't do any draft picks. They don't do any trades. They don't do any incentive for these brands to even have internal brand warfare. There's nothing that happens during the year that even indicates that. There's no trades being made, and when there is a trade, WWE doesn't tell you about the fucking dealings of the trade or anything like that. Survivor Series has no draft implications at all. Winning team gets an NXT draft pick. NXT's not involved in the draft because it's not a major brand like Monday and Friday night. End the fucking brand split. You'll be doing me and everybody else a goddamn favor. Backstage reaction to Bianca Belair's loss to Becky Lynch at SummerSlam. Now, we all know what happened at SummerSlam. 26 seconds, 27 seconds, whatever it was awful. Belair was supposed to defend the title against Sasha Banks, but she wasn't cleared. Well, in-ring action was the boss. Now, it's been previously reported that WWE knew 8 days in advance that Banks wouldn't be wrestling at the show, but they kept advertising her anyway. And right up until she was about to make her in-ring entrance, WWE said, you know what? She's not here, and Bianca Belair will now wrestle against a mystery opponent, which ended up being Carmella. Carmella got dumped to the fucking dumpster where she belongs, and then out comes Becky Lynch. And that's when Bianca Belair lost in 27 seconds. Fightful is reporting that there are details on how the talent reacted to the title switch and the way it was done. Those backstage said Belair appeared to be in good spirits once she came through the curtain, and WWE officials applauded Belair's attitude. Regarding reactions from the talent and staff, some people were mixed with genuine shock to not being surprised at all. Belair is said to be a pro and makes the best out of every situation she's put in creatively. One person said they believe there's an actual plan in motion for this story. WWE is already advertising the next match between Belair and Lynch at the upcoming Extreme Rules pay-per-view in September. I don't think that's the case at all. I think whoever got in Fightful's ear and whatever source reached out to Fightful to have this report get out there to the general masses, I think it's a complete bullshit crock of shit. That's what I think. Bianca Belair was mistreated, and WWE was desperate to have any sort of momentum swing in their favor after CM Punk showed up on Rampage the night before. WWE could have went about it in a multitude of ways. One of them being a triple threat match. We could have got Bianca, Carmella, and Becky could have pinned Carmella to become the champion, and that would have remained at least in a situation where Bianca Belair would look strong because she wouldn't have been pinned. She would have lost the championship, but she wouldn't have been pinned. That was one way to go about it. WWE knew 8 days that Sasha Banks wasn't going to be at SummerSlam, but they continued to advertise her anyway, instead of going the way that AEW did with CM Punk, and for 8 days, WWE could have dropped innuendos, Easter eggs, Bianca could have showed up on Monday Night Raw. We got this brand-to-brand invitational, correct? She should have showed up on Monday Night Raw. Listen, Sasha's not showing up. I don't have an opponent on SmackDown. I've beaten everybody. Bayley's out, Sasha's out, and there's nobody. Monday Night Raw, I'm here to scout the competition. I'm looking for somebody to wrestle at SummerSlam. And I don't think there's anybody on this roster that could step up to me either. And you know what that makes me? That makes me the man in this women's division. That's all you had to do. Could have utilized the brand-to-brand invitational. They didn't do it. Could have dropped Becky Lynch Easter eggs on Raw and on SmackDown via the brand-to-brand invitational just to build people's anticipation about Becky potentially being at SummerSlam. They didn't do it. But taking the belt off of Bianca Belair after she main evented WrestleMania, had Sasha Banks shed tears for passing the torch to Bianca Belair. After Bianca Belair won the Royal Rumble in a very impressive fashion, you decided that it was best for her to lose the title in 27 seconds at SummerSlam. And then you want me to believe that there's a story in motion. There's no fucking story in motion. Is Becky going to drop the title back to Bianca? If so, why? Because beating Becky is better or greater than beating Sasha at WrestleMania? Beating Becky at Extreme Rules is better than beating Sasha at WrestleMania in the main event? How does it make any sense? You did it maliciously. You did it on purpose. Whatever your inner reasons were, political reasons, it was done maliciously. And yes, I do agree that Bianca Belair is probably a pro in handling these types of situations. She goes with it. She's going to do what she is supposed to do. But even if that's the case, you could still speak up. 27 seconds, I've come here to work, Vince. You've given me a huge spotlight by winning this title at WrestleMania. For me to drop it in 27 seconds after you've done everything possible to get me to this point, now you want me to drop it to Becky Lynch in 27 seconds? How is that fair? What did Becky Lynch do? What makes her deserve the championship over me? I've been here. She just came back. Don't you think me losing in 27 seconds is a negative on everything that you've done with me? It almost erases everything that's been done for Bianca Belair. Speak up. Why does everybody got to walk on eggshells when you deal with a 77-year-old senile fuck in Vince McMahon? And like I said, Becky Lynchburg is no better than Bill Goldberg, because she could have spoken up as well. How dare you want to come in and take the belt off Bianca Belair knowing that, A, you buried her, B, she'll never be the same, because look at what happened to Rhea Ripley. Look what happened to Rhea Ripley in the Charlotte situation. Did Rhea ever recover? No! And I mention it every single time. Every single time. Becky Lynch should have said, no! I'm not ready. There's a story in place. There's a story in motion to make Bianca a bigger babyface. Because Becky Lynch is going to be a great heel, right? You ain't getting people to boo that woman. You fucking ridiculous. That woman is not going heel. And if Becky Lynch, I said this last week, I don't want to repeat myself, but it's pertinent to the point I'm making. If Becky Lynch didn't say no, which she should have said no, the report went on to say that Becky Lynch went to Vince McMahon and it was her idea to turn heel or want to work heel upon her return after giving birth. So if she has the power to request being heel, then she has the power to request, Vince, I don't want to take the title of Bianca Belair. This is wrong. You're actively changing your entire character. You can get away with that and ask for that and get granted that. But to take the belt off Bianca Belair, you just magically go silent, right? Great job there, Becky Lynchburg. Fucking ridiculous, man. Beating Becky Lynch at Extreme Rules, I don't see how that's going to make Bianca any better than beating Sasha Banks at WrestleMania in the main event after winning the fucking Royal Rumble. She went through the WrestleMania motion. But beating Becky Lynch at Extreme Rules is better than what she did with Sasha Banks. Think about that. You have to be a blithering fucking idiot to think that this is going to get Bianca Belair over more. internal backstage reaction. They were not shocked. They were surprised. Some people were mixed about it. Give me a break. It was fucking awful. Everything about it was fucking awful. Brock Lesnar, he also returned at SummerSlam. Reported number of matches that Brock Lesnar will work after signing a new WWE deal. Wrestling Observer Radio and Dave Meltzer were talking about the direction that WWE is going in for Lesnar and Reigns. From a financial standpoint, WWE will get more money from booking this upcoming match in Saudi at Crown Jewel, which would justify the amount of money WWE is paying Lesnar instead of saving it for WrestleMania. Meltzer noted that he's heard Lesnar has signed on for 8 to 12 matches as part of his new contract. This does not include TV appearances. He's back for a number of dates, says Meltzer. I've heard anywhere between 8 to 12, and that's what he's back for. 8 to 12 between now and until the end of the contract, however long the contract is, whether it's a 2-year, 3-year, whatever it is. So let's figure this out. We got Saudi, Survivor Series, possibly. You know, WWE's going to load that show up. Lesnar will be there in some way, shape, or form. So that's 2. Royal Rumble, WrestleMania. Then we got SummerSlam. Then we got probably another 2 Saudi shows. That's 7. Then we got Survivor Series, 8. You're looking at, I would say, what's that? Royal Rumble, 9. WrestleMania, 10. It may take him to the Los Angeles WrestleMania, and then his contract is probably over. Anywhere between 8 to 12. Nobody knows the exact number. I figured it's going to fall right in the middle of that, possibly at 10. But my question is there 10 people in WWE right now that we want to see against Brock Lesnar? Is WWE planning to give Brock Lesnar the WWE or Universal Championships again? Which I hope is not the case. So, the only thing that I could possibly think of for Brock Lesnar is Roman, Keith Lee, Matt Riddle, and honestly, that is it. 8 to 12 matches? That's a long, arduous task if you're WWE. I don't know what they're going to do with Brock Lesnar, but good luck with that one. Lesnar's not really at a point. I don't want to say he's not a draw. He's a draw in some way. He's a draw. He's got a legit, just essence about him. He's on TV. You're always going to be interested in what Brock Lesnar is going to do. You're always going to be interested as to why he's there. He just brings a sense of realism that nobody in WWE could even duplicate at all. But I don't think Lesnar is at a point where you put him over in a match with somebody, or you put him in a match to get somebody else over, I should say. Is it the same as 5 years ago? Is it the same as 10 years ago? No. And who's he going to work with? WWE going to build up somebody to even look legitimately on the same level as a Brock Lesnar? Like I said, it's a difficult task to even think about, even contemplate about. Now, I've talked about this on the Monday Night Raw podcast. I talked about this on the post show. WWE reportedly, before he came back at SummerSlam, the plan internally was to have Lesnar and Reigns at WrestleMania. The WWE brings Lesnar back now. Clearly, it's not happening at WrestleMania. And we all know that they're going back to Saudi on October 22nd, so that's where that match is happening. And Meltzer even said it. That's the direction that they're going in, because from a financial standpoint, WWE will get more money from booking this match in Saudi than at WrestleMania. They'd rather get the money than have long-term booking and make the story what really matters. So they're doing it in Saudi. Roman is not losing the championship. So what you've pretty much done here is give us the idea, and we all know that you want Dwayne. Roman should not be losing that championship to anybody at all before he gets to WrestleMania and The Rock. Lesnar should not win the championship. We should not go back down that rabbit hole again. Roman Reigns should not be without that Universal Championship. So doing this match in Saudi will give WWE one of Lesnar's matches, also while building Roman Reigns up, and they get it out of the way. then WWE's idea and their booking and creative should shift in another direction. Not Lesnar and Reigns, because you got more than enough time to tell this story. It's the beginning of September. You could tell whatever you want to tell with Lesnar being back and Reigns and Paul Heyman all the way up. You got a month and a half. You got 6 SmackDowns. You could tell a story in 6 weeks. But Roman, after beating Lesnar, Lesnar should move on. He should be removed from this situation. Maybe he makes amends with Paul Heyman. Maybe Paul Heyman shows up on Monday Night Raw with Brock Lesnar. Maybe he understands that Lesnar, that Heyman is going to manage the tribal chief and he's going to manage the beast incarnate. Heyman shows up with Lesnar on Monday night. That's where you ultimately want him. USA Network is already complaining that Fox is already stacked. You can't have Roman and Brock and Becky on the same show. You got to give one of them up. Roman ain't going anywhere. Becky ain't going anywhere, being that her husband works on that show. Brock is the only one. Move him over to Raw. Move him over to Raw. Now, whatever the case may be, how they want to do it, I don't know. If there's anything that we've come to know and love, it's Paul Heyman. Always trust the process. Always trust the story with Paul Heyman. I don't know what happens in that Saudi match. All I know is I'm thinking ahead. I'm thinking Roman Reigns versus Bobby Lashley at the Survivor Series, champion versus champion. Bobby Lashley going into that match can't lose. Roman can't lose. But you know what the one deciding factor in all that is? Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar comes and causes an interference, causes a DQ. He targets Roman, but he's got to stare down with Bobby Lashley. They get into a back and forth. Roman and Paul Heyman, they get out of Dodge. Lesnar's focus and attention now is on Bobby Lashley. So I don't know what the case may be here. But I think if WWE wants to play their cards right and set up Lesnar versus Lashley at WrestleMania, this would be a presentation to WWE that sets up this match perfectly. If you wait any longer, it's not going to really be as important as it could possibly be now. The cards are aligning. The stars are in place. Do it. Do it. All the while, Roman is the Universal Champion until next year. Imagine WrestleMania next year with Lashley and Lesnar for the WWE title and Roman versus Dwayne for the Universal Championship. You want something that is going to capture the true essence of WrestleMania? That's it. Lesnar, Lashley, main event night 1, and Roman and Rock, main event night 2. You cannot get any perfect than that, or any more perfect, I should say, than that. The time is now. The time is now. As far as Lesnar and his other matches, Keith Lee, Matt Riddle, that's all I could possibly think of. Maybe another match with Balor, AJ Styles. We've seen those matches before. There's nobody on the roster. To me, Edge, I could see an Edge-Lesnar match. Cena again. How many matches could this guy possibly have on the active roster? There's not many. There's not many. It's going to be a very difficult thing to choose 8 to 12 people to wrestle Lesnar in the next year and a half. But you might as well get this one out of the way. This one presents itself as a perfect storm. Go with it. It's everything that you want WrestleMania to be. One of those guys is Keith Lee. Keith Lee, reportedly, WWE is working on repackaging Mr. Lee with a new character and a possible heel turn. We talked about this also at the tail end of the Monday Night Raw post show. And this was also in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter. Dave Meltzer had a small update on Keith Lee. According to Meltzer, the idea behind bringing him to TV every Monday and Friday, working dark matches, is they want to change Lee's style and to give him a new character. So they want him to practice in front of fans. Lee has been getting babyface reactions during his dark matches, but sources were told that Vince McMahon has considered turning him into a monster heel. Lee returned a few weeks ago after being sidelined for months with health issues stemming from a battle with COVID-19. He battled heart issues that were complications from the deadly virus. WWE has been sitting on Keith Lee for over a year now. I remember when this guy was shaking hands with Roman Reigns in the middle of the ring at Survivor Series when it was down to Keith Lee and Roman Reigns with NXT involved in Survivor Series in 2019. That was the crowning moment for Keith Lee. After watching that, why would anybody have a desire to see this man changed? He was in the ring and got the seal of approval from the number one face of this fucking company currently. So why do we need to change Keith Lee? What was wrong with that version of Keith Lee? That version of Keith Lee is the very version of Keith Lee that was going to bring him a ton of success, major success, on the main roster. And what you've done is absolutely bury this man on the main roster, changed his theme music, changed his look, only to change it back. Then he had COVID. He had to sit out for 7 months. Now he's back. You don't know what to do with him. You want to change his in-ring style. You want him to work a big man, Mark Henry, Big Show, Kane style. And you want to take away everything that brought him to the fucking dance. Everything that made him unique. Everything that made him stand out amongst everybody on that roster, which is now looked at as a negative. Sorry, Mr. Lee, no originality on the WWE main roster. What they're pretty much telling you. I don't want to see Keith Lee work a Mark Henry style. I don't want to see Keith Lee work a monster heel style. I don't believe in Keith Lee being a heel. Keith Lee is a likable fucking guy. People want to cheer Keith Lee. Clearly, by the report, he's getting babyface reactions in dark matches or whatever is a babyface reaction in terms of him being cheered. How over is he? I don't know. It's very difficult to gauge after he's been off TV for 7 months. WWE did him no favors by bringing him back to TV and making him a fucking stepping stone for Bill Goldberg and Bobby Lashley. They didn't do anything with him losing to Karrion Kross. Why the urge to change something that doesn't need to be changed? It's like going into an Italian restaurant that's been open for 50 fucking years and asking the chef to change his award-winning fucking red marinara sauce. Why would you do that? Why would you not use what this guy brought to the table and brought him to the dance? Oh, that's right, because Keith Lee worked to indie. There's one glaring fucking positive thing coming out of this. It's the fact that Keith Lee has not gotten fired yet. The fact that they're wanting to change means that they may like something about Keith Lee. They want to change the indie and get rid of the indie that still resides in Keith Lee. And they're willing to work with him on that. So there's got to be some level of like from management to Lee. But that doesn't necessarily make it right. I don't get it. I really don't understand it. Guy was a likable guy. This guy was in the ring with fucking Roman Reigns as a sole survivor for his team in Survivor Series. Won the North American and NXT championships. The only person to ever do that. I don't get it. You got a breadwinner here. And he's off TV working dark matches because you want to change everything that made him fucking feel original. So when he gets to TV, what? It's going to be a heel? It's going to be a babyface? How many more heels do we need on Monday Night Raw? Where's he going? Is he going back to SmackDown? You're going to join SmackDown's roster? Like they have anything that they're going to give him and make him stand out? They got their own fucking problems over there. No matter where he goes, he's not going to really fit in. Because the shows themselves are going to swallow him up. No role, no matter the role, is going to benefit Lee. He goes to Monday Night Raw as a heel. Great. We got a heel champion. That champion, Bobby Lashley, ain't going anywhere. So if you bring him back to a Monday Night Raw as a heel, how is that going to benefit him when the tides aren't really going to swing in his favor about being a heel? He goes to SmackDown and is a heel. What does he got? Roman at the top. Nobody's touching Roman. Nobody is even sniffing Roman. Working heel against Shinsuke Nakamura, babyface, for the Intercontinental Championship. It'll be exciting. It'll be interesting for a 2 or 3 week span, but after that, boring. WWE will probably give us rematches every other fucking week. Nothing's going to work with this guy. Nothing. WWE had it, and they dropped it with Keith Lee. I cared, but now I don't. It's very difficult to care when WWE is so wishy-washy on what they want to do with somebody that didn't need to be changed at all. Paige. Yes, Soraya, Paige. She may be back in a WWE ring very soon. Paige confirms that she's working on an in-ring return and she would love to wrestle Beth Phoenix. Now, there's a lot of speculation in regards to Paige. This dates back to June, as she noted that her neck was feeling better and she had been doing a lot more heavy training. She has also indicated that there's a chance that she could get cleared to wrestle again at some point. Daniel Bryan got cleared. Edge got cleared. There's no doubt in my mind that Paige could probably undergo the same thing. WWE probably is playing it safe with Paige right now. She could probably get back in the ring now, and WWE wants to monitor the situation a little bit more carefully, which I think they're always great at doing. They're not going to put anybody in a situation where their life is going to be at risk. But I do think that WWE is waiting for the right time, the right moment to just let this happen. She could do it now, like I said. But WWE has an internal clock about when they want things to actually happen. So if she says that she's good and she's training and she's looking to have this happen and she wants to make this happen for herself, WWE is probably going to give her the green light, but when they are ready. Because they did that with Daniel Bryan. You know, I know it's a conspiracy theory, but Daniel Bryan being out for as long as he was, for 4 years, only to come back after the failed experiment that was Roman Reigns. Because when Daniel Bryan won the WWE Championship, WWE wanted to anoint Roman Reigns as the man. They couldn't do that. It was never going to be the way that they wanted. With Daniel Bryan as the WWE Champion. Daniel Bryan was the people's champion. And then all before anything really got going with Daniel Bryan, he's injured. And then the next thing you know, he's out for 4 years. But WWE is continuing to chug along on that Roman Reigns initiative. Would Roman Reigns be the face of the company with Daniel Bryan working at the top? No. The WWE kept Daniel Bryan. I believe WWE kept Daniel Bryan out for 4 years to push the Roman agenda. Then he just comes back magically after 4 years, knowing that that agenda has failed. And the best version of Bryan and the best version of Roman existed this year when they feuded over the Universal Championship. And now Bryan's not even there. Bryan's set to debut on Sunday night at All Out. But that may be too conspiracy theory, but I absolutely believe it. Because WWE would have gone to any length to get Roman over. You saw what they did. So me saying it, it's not that ridiculous, knowing what WWE did. They wanted Bryan to wrestle, so they waited 4 years to allow him to wrestle. They gave him an on-screen role, GM, advocate, fucking commissioner, whatever the fuck he was doing in the 4 years. They wanted him on TV, clearly, but they didn't want him wrestling at the top because the Yes Movement was all too powerful. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm crazy. But Paige, she will wrestle when WWE says she can wrestle. So she posted a tweet noting that she wasn't done in ring yet. She's a former Divas champion, and she recently stated on her Twitch that her WWE contract is up in June of 2022. She doesn't know if they want to offer her a new contract. Paige also did a live stream on Twitch where she made some interesting comments. These are the interesting comments that were transcribed. She's working hard to make a comeback to wrestling, but noted if and when that happens, she won't tell anyone, as she would rather do it and have it be a surprise. She made it clear that a possible return won't happen tomorrow, although she is mentally ready for it to happen now. Paige plans to record the progress on the process of coming back, and she wants to document it all. Hall of Famer Beth Phoenix is someone that she would love to wrestle. Regarding Bianca Belair losing the SmackDown Women's title to Becky Lynch at SummerSlam, she hated the way Belair was squashed and believes it did nothing for the women's division and women's wrestling. Yeah, but everybody was very receptive to it backstage. Sure thing. Paige thinks people watching her journey back to the ring could be a big deal. Paige believes WWE is not taking the women's tag team titles as seriously as they should, and they got no tag teams. Well, Paige isn't a bimbo after all, huh? Some pretty smart comments in regards to Bianca, Becky, SummerSlam, and it doing nothing, and women's tag team titles absolutely being a fucking waste of hardware. And they have no tag teams to even warrant getting those titles made. But women's revolution, equality for women, whatever the men have to have. No. If it doesn't make sense, then we don't do it. Sorry, I'm so much of a realist for some of you people. Paige being back, I'd like to see it. Will it happen? I think so. Will it happen? I absolutely think so. She did mention a contract, June 2022. WWE may get close to that running out, but she's got a bargaining chip in AEW. She can go talk to AEW just like Edge went to go talk to AEW, and Edge used AEW and Tony Khan for leverage to get more money out of WWE. Paige can probably do the same thing that Edge did. WWE is not going to let Paige go to AEW and wrestle for the first time in God knows how long under somebody else's watch. WWE will let her wrestle when her contract is up. Right now, it's not a big deal. But when her contract is up and she is medically cleared to wrestle, WWE is going to jump on that ship and say, whoa. Don't go over there. Let's talk. We'll get you back in the ring here. So they're waiting. It's a waiting game. They don't care about Paige now. They're monitoring the situation, but it's not that important. It's not that big of a deal now. But when the contract is up, then it'll be a big deal because Paige will have options. Right now, she's got no options. The only option is to Twitch because she's under contract for another year. So when Paige has options, then WWE will get into ready mode. Oh, you want to wrestle? Let's get you back in the ring. Let's start planning your return. That's how they work. It's going to happen in a WWE ring, whether you like it or not, whether you like Paige or not. She still has some value. She still has some value left and could be an integral part in whatever WWE plans to do for the women's revolution in the next year. Adam Cole, baby. This story pisses me the fuck off, man. This story absolutely pisses me the fuck off. WWE has potentially lost Adam Cole because of fucking video games. Adam Cole loves his Twitch channel. He's made that very clear that he's not leaving the platform. This was something that he was quite blunt about to his followers last week during a live stream. He also didn't budge on the subject when it comes to contract talks. Now, Fightful Select is reporting as of Friday that Adam Cole made it clear to WWE that he was not willing to give up his Twitch account as many other superstars have done in the past. A WWE source said that it was non-negotiable for Adam Cole. Higher-ups apparently weren't excited about talking about this either because they didn't have any leverage in the situation. The WWE source we originally spoke to, says Sean Ross Sapp, on the matter, called it non-negotiable for him, and even said that higher-ups weren't excited to talk to him about it in general because they didn't have much leverage on the situation, and that was even before they knew his contract came up in July. Adam Cole is now a free agent and able to do whatever he wants. He could show up at All Out, which, I won't mind him showing up at All Out, but I don't think that's the right situation for Adam Cole. He could wrestle for MLW. He could go back to Ring of Honor. He could go to New Japan. He could go to Impact. He could do legitimately anything he wants. But we all know he's going right to AEW. We have to see what is next for Adam Cole, but he's not giving up his Twitch channel for any pro wrestling company. So for work in WWE, you are not allowed to have a Twitch channel. So clearly Adam Cole has made it known that he's not going back to WWE. You could probably have that in NXT, from what I understand. But who knows? With Vince McMahon and Bruce Prichard taking over in NXT, maybe whatever happens on the main roster will now be adapted or adopted in NXT. But even if Adam Cole does go back to NXT, I could see WWE saying, you know what, we're going to bring this edict down on third-party platforms as well for everybody on this brand. I don't know. That's just hearsay. But Adam Cole's a free agent. Non-negotiable. Ringside News covered this story weeks ago, so Sean Ross Sapp and Fightful are now late to the party with this one. So I don't know why this is news now. This was news fucking 3 weeks ago. I told you all that this was going to be a negotiation tactic. Vince McMahon looked at Adam Cole directly in the face and admired who he was as a person, not as a WWE superstar. Too small. He's not 260 pounds. He's a vanilla midget, quote unquote. They don't want any midgets. And then when Adam Cole, he knows what he brings to the fucking table. When Adam Cole said, Vince, I want my Twitch. I love my Twitch. This is what I do. It's very important to me. You think Vince McMahon was going to bend a fucking knee for Adam Cole when Randy Orton and AJ Styles and fucking Cesaro and everybody else can't have a goddamn personal Twitch account under Vince McMahon's new edict? Vince McMahon was going to bend the knee for Adam Cole, an NXT midget, right? Now he's gone. Now he's gone. And it's mind-boggling to me how decisions like this are okay. They're just conditions in a company that exist for absolutely no reason, but Vince wants them. Because Vince wants them. How ridiculous does it sound when I put it into perspective for you? This man is one of the best pro wrestlers on the fucking planet. This guy's a free agent. This guy had his contract up and he offered to work the remainder of the SummerSlam build to put over his best friend without a contract on a handshake deal. That's the type of guy I want on my roster. Never mind him being a top 5 elite in this business. Adam Cole is a master of his craft. You know that this guy is willingly a fucking free agent. This guy comes to you wanting to stay with your company, but you don't want to listen to him because he wants nothing more than his Twitch channel to remain. Goodbye. You know how ridiculous that sounds? So you mean to tell me WWE let one of the best pro wrestlers on the fucking face of this earth walk right on into AEW because of fucking video games? They won't allow him to play video games. You know, Vince, if you gave Adam Cole what he wanted, which, I mean, you got 5-year-olds fucking going pro on Fortnite. Everybody plays fucking video game. Everybody plays video games. You mean to tell me that you let this man walk over fucking video games? You mean to tell me that this man maybe wanted to stay and all he fucking wanted was his video game Twitch channel to remain and you said no? I'm at a loss of fucking words. I'm at a loss of fucking words right now. How does anybody want to work there? You got this guy who did the fucking humanitarian thing to stay with your company because somebody in fucking management fucked up his contract. And they didn't know when he was a free agent. He opted to stay with you. You don't want someone like that on your company. You don't want someone like that on your company. You're not willing to bend a fucking knee to keep someone like that on your company payroll. Now he's AEW's fucking gold mine. Now he's going to have matches with Omega, Bryan, Punk, Darby, Sammy, MJF, Jungle Boy, and everybody else that's fucking over there. This guy's going to go through the fucking roof going over to AEW, man. Adam Cole wanted his Twitch, and WWE showed absolutely no effort in keeping Adam Cole because they wouldn't allow him to play fucking video games while under a WWE contract. I hope this opens everybody's fucking eyes about what WWE is to this industry. They are a fucking cancer to the goddamn pro wrestling industry, man. The people that are running the show over there are absolutely fucking mental. They need to be locked away, and the key needs to be thrown away forever. never to be heard from again. Literally insane. Every single fucking person, starting with Vince and everybody underneath him, that tickles this guy's balls every fucking week needs to be locked away, never to be heard of again. What a ridiculous fucking situation. Adam Cole wants to play video games. Sorry, you can't. Goodbye. Unbelievable. Yeah, we got fucking Xavier Woods doing up, up, down, down, but we can't have anybody on the fucking roster playing video games as an extracurricular activity because it goes against WWE's brand. Unbelievable, man. So Tony Khan's gonna laugh when he sits down with a contract in front of Adam Cole. Adam Cole's gonna be like, yo, TK, can I play video games? Can you play video games? Bro, I'll buy you a Sony warehouse. You'll have all the stock of PS5 all to yourself, man. Do what you want with it, man. Jesus Christ. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I'll buy you a lifetime subscription to fucking Steam on PC. What are you kidding me? Just sign the fucking deal, man. Let me get you on Dynamite next week. You fucking serious? God. Unbelievable, man. NXT. Speaking of NXT, Adam Cole, the biggest NXT name that brand has seen the last 4 years. He's gone. But what does that mean for everybody else that is still there? Several NXT wrestlers are on the quote-unquote chopping block and will be released soon as Vince McMahon and Bruce Prichard take over complete control of NXT on Tuesday night. I don't want to hear from anybody. Oh, well, Sean Ross Sapp said this isn't the story. I don't care. I don't care what anybody said. I don't care what Sapp said. I don't care what fucking Mike Johnson said. I don't care what fucking Wrestle Talk said. I don't care what Cultaholic said. I don't care. I don't care what Inside the Ropes said. I don't care what WrestleVotes said. Triple H is no longer in charge. That man has zero power. Zero. Absolutely nothing. Triple H is a fucking barista at Starbucks who has no say on the assembly line making fucking caramel macchiatos. That's it. Barely getting a 15-minute break for lunch. That's it. He's done. Triple H is finished. As for the chopping block, I don't know what this means. I don't know who's on the chopping block. I mean, being that we saw Bronson Reed get cut, I won't be surprised by anybody getting cut. Honestly. There are a lot of rumors going around right now about what is exactly happening with NXT in a few weeks. As noted, Vince McMahon and Bruce Prichard are said to be taking over the show. Dave Meltzer reported that he was told they would be handling the big picture and everything regarding how the show looks. It's awesome. WrestleVotes reported this week that sources in the company are saying that the day-to-day operation is not changing that drastically. And things are still in the hands of Triple H, Shawn Michaels, William Regal, Matt Bloom, and everybody else on Triple H's team. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. You mean to tell me that Vince McMahon and Bruce Prichard are coming on in? They're setting up a nice little day bed at the Performance Center. They're staying the night every Tuesday night. You mean to tell me that Bruce Prichard and Vince McMahon are walking into Tuesday night, overseeing the show, but Triple H is in charge of the day-to-day operations? Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Do you realize what happens on Monday night with scripts being ripped up? With scripts being ripped up on Friday night, only to be rewritten by Vince McMahon, and then Bruce Prichard, yes, Vince, yes, Vince, yes, Vince. But Triple H is in charge of the day-to-day operations. Yeah, right, man. Shawn Michaels is a fucking producer. He has no say in anything that happens there. He works with talent that he is supposed to work with, and he produces the matches and segments. William Regal, he's a scout. Matt Bloom is a trainer. Who else is there? Terry Taylor? Whoever the fuck is on Triple H's team. Triple H is no longer in charge of the day-to-day operation. That's it. It's all over. And Triple H hasn't been in charge for a very long time. Ever since they moved to the USA Network and expanded to 2 hours, it was the death of NXT. The death of NXT. The show should have never been moved off the WWE Network. The show should have never expanded to 2 hours. And all we ever heard was that this was the natural evolution of the brand. We were made to believe that NXT was a legit third brand. Let's throw NXT in the Survivor Series. Let's feature NXT talent in the Royal Rumble. Let's do this. Let's have theme shows. Let's have main roster guys show up on Wednesday night on NXT. Meanwhile, all you ever did was do these things in combat of AEW and still lose. Every reaction that NXT did was because of something AEW did first. Triple H was removed from power. Nick Conman, Tony Khan, not Tony Khan, he's the good Khan. Nick Conman, Vince McMahon, Bruce Prichard, and People Power, Johnny Laurinaitis, went to the Performance Center before the last round of cuts to go in there and poke their nose in business that they knew was going to be their business as we see it now. As we see it now, Triple H has no business doing anything NXT related. Everybody that Triple H loved no longer going to be pushed. Everything that Triple H had set for NXT is now in the hands of Bruce Prichard and Vince McMahon. How long before we get reports of scripts being delivered to Vince McMahon only for Vince to rip it up and rewrite the whole thing before 8 p.m. on Tuesday night? That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for that first report to come out from Mike Johnson of PW Insider saying that we had an angry Vince backstage on Tuesday night. He didn't like the way this NXT show was written by Triple H and company, and he changed the whole fucking thing. If Triple H is in charge, it's not going to be for much longer. As soon as we get reports like that, all the confirmation I need that Triple H is not anywhere near in charge of NXT. But he hasn't been in charge since the move to USA Network. Who do you think made the move to the USA Network? Who? You think it was Triple H? You think Triple H made the executive decision to move NXT to USA Network and expand it to 2 hours? Come on, man. You can't be that fucking stupid. This was all Vince McMahon's idea. Vince moved it to USA Network. Vince moved it to 2 hours. Vince used that as a catalyst to combat AEW. Because he did that instead of doing it himself. So he didn't have anybody to blame on his side. He could easily blame Triple H. What don't you grasp here? Yes, Triple H moved himself to Tuesday nights. Yes, Triple H moved to Wednesday night on USA Network and expanded it to 2 hours. Why would Triple H want that? What does Triple H care about AEW? When he's got NXT, everybody loved NXT. It was appointment television at 1 hour. Now it's disappointment television at 2 hours on Tuesday night. That's exactly what it is. It's been disappointment television on Wednesday night ever since the head-to-head with AEW. Triple H doesn't seem like the type of guy who ran NXT in its glory days from 2016, 17, 18, 19. Triple H doesn't seem like the type of guy that is bothered by anybody else when he ran NXT because he knew he had the best fucking product out there. He didn't have to do anything. He had the talent. He had the matches. He had the takeovers. He had the vision. He had the team. He had everything right. Everything that he was doing was right. Why would Triple H interrupt everything that he did perfectly to come up with some lame excuse? Oh, it's the natural evolution of NXT. Let's move it to 2 hours. Let's move to Wednesday night on USA Network, live. Why do we need that? I don't believe for a single solitary second that Triple H did any of those things and okayed any of those decisions. Triple H is only going to publicly say that that's what it needs to be and that's what needs to happen because he's working for Vince McMahon. He's a good little boy that married Vince's daughter. He has no say in anything. If Daddy Vince wants something, Triple H has to shill himself in front of a camera. Triple H has to shill himself in front of a conference call with reporters and analysts and journalists. Give me a break, folks. Triple H has been out of power since the move to USA Network and NXT expanding to 2 hours. It's very simple. Vince made these decisions because Vince didn't want anything a part of the main roster to look bad in regards to combating AEW. He'd much rather have killed NXT and blamed everything on Triple H than blame anybody on his side, including himself. And it's very easy to set somebody up for failure when you know that they're inevitably going to fail. Triple H knew he was going to fail. Vince knew his son-in-law was going to fail. Triple H's wife knew he was going to fail. Everybody knew they were going to fail. And that's exactly what happened. So it's easy to blame him, use that as a catalyst. I'm disappointed in you, son. You thought that you were going to be better than us all. You thought that one day you were going to take over this kingdom that I've built and given to the family. You thought everything you did down here was right and the way it needed to be. The future of WWE was in your hands. All I asked was for you to beat this startup t-shirt company, and you couldn't do it. You got your ass handed to you all year. Vince McMahon took all of these into account, and he removed them from power. You don't think Triple H was blackballed? You don't think this man was set up? This was a 2-year-long effort to remove this man from power. You don't think people on Triple H's side are crying about this decision? They knew what they had, and now it's gone. You don't think people on Vince McMahon's team wanted Triple H powerless? Because they knew when Triple H was eventually going to take over, if things continued great the way that they were. You don't think Triple H would clean house on Vince McMahon's side when Vince McMahon is no longer capable of running WWE anymore? That means everybody on Vince McMahon's team, Laurinaitis, Bruce, Dunn, all gone. Every single one of them gone. Triple H would have went in there with his own team and just used his team and then would have left somebody that he trusts in charge to build their own team on NXT. Just like Triple H is running NXT, Shawn Michaels is running NXT UK. It was a 1-2 combo. Triple H would have moved to the main roster. Triple H would have done the main roster. Shawn Michaels probably would have been moved to NXT local, and somebody that Triple H and Shawn Michaels know personally, trusting them, would have taken over NXT UK. That was the natural cycle of things, the way that it should have been. Triple H didn't name these things takeover for a reason. It was a play on words. Because he knew eventually that if things continued the way that they were in 16, 17, 18, 19, and NXT was at the height of its popularity, could do no wrong, the hottest wrestling company on the planet, then he was eventually going to be groomed as the new king in WWE. Vince's team didn't want that. They always sought Triple H to be knocked down a couple of pegs. Always. I mean, if you don't know this, man, I don't, what makes me watching the show any different than any of you? How come nobody else is reporting this? How come nobody else is speculating about this, talking about this? I mean, it's plain as day. It's plain as day. You watch, you assess, you read the reports, you put 2 and 2 together. It's not that difficult to figure out. WrestleVotes is saying day-to-day operation is not changing. Bullshit. However, the look of the show will have a Vince and Company stamp on it. Great. Great. So NXT, the one thing, I'm not talking about NXT now. NXT now sucks. NXT now sucks. It's so fucking disappointing to see what the show has been reduced to. But they're going to come in. Vince and Bruce are going to put their stamp on it. What does that mean? Make it look like the main roster? We don't get that enough on Monday night? We don't get that enough on Friday night. Now, many of you might not take LED screens and fucking big lights and colors and all this other high-quality 4K shit. Some of you might look at that as a good thing. I don't like the overly polished look of WWE. It's so manufactured and overproduced, it doesn't even look or feel like a wrestling show. Why would you take what you're doing on the main roster and apply it to NXT to make NXT look and feel the same as all those other shows? Wasn't NXT the alternative to what is going on Monday and Friday night? Oh, but that's right. We can't have any sort of competition between NXT and what we're doing up here. Everything's got to feel the same. NXT's got to be as boring and as colorful and as cheesy and as lame and as uncreative and unprepared and overproduced as the main roster. The brand's identity is dead. And I said this when it moved to USA Network. I said it when it was moved to 2 hours. And I said it was the same way that I'm going to explain to you now when it was put in line to combat AEW. Vince never cared about the heart and soul and the essence of what made NXT special. Now you're getting all of that and everything that I said 2-3 years ago. The essence of NXT died when they did all of that. Vince never cared about the essence of NXT. And him coming in and putting their stamp on it is confirmation that they never gave a shit about the essence and what made NXT original under a WWE flag. I don't want their stamp on it. Their stamp is the nail in the coffin. They can't even get right Monday and Friday night. What makes you think they're going to change Tuesday night for the better? I don't understand these fucking geeks in the community. Why are you so open to this obviously wrong and bad decision? Give it chance. Give it time. No. No, I shall do no such thing. Why change something that was already perfect? They've already changed. Now you're going to fucking kill it completely. That lines up with what Meltzer reported this week on The Observer. It's looking like we may see some changes at the start, but other things will happen gradually. Meltzer says, after talking to sources regarding NXT, the day-to-day operation isn't changing drastically. Or this is actually what WrestleVotes tweeted. This is WrestleVotes' tweet. Sources regarding NXT, the day-to-day operation isn't changing that drastically. Still very much in the hands of Triple H, HBK, William Regal, Bloom, etc. However, the look of the weekly television product will have a Vince & Company stamp on it. I expect it to be subtle, then ... Then what? Because you know Vince is going to get control, of everything. He's going to have a little taste and then want the whole fucking pizza pie. Then Bruce is going to get involved, and they're going to kind of ease their way into it, and then they're just going to push everybody out that's there to the side, and they're going to take control because Vince McMahon is a fucking control freak. So I do not believe that Triple H is still running the show. Meltzer says, the story that Vince and Bruce would be executive producers, I was told, is not the case. It's not the case. Of course it's not the fucking case. They're coming in to change the entire goddamn thing. Never mind produce. What do you think an executive producer is? They are coming in to produce the whole fucking show. It's right in the title of every fucking person that holds that position. You executive produce. Vince is head of creative and executive producer. He produces everything. So what makes you believe that Triple H is in charge of day-to-day operations? Yeah, pushing a fucking pen at his desk. He's in charge of the paperwork and filing paperwork. He ain't in charge of what happens on Tuesday night. Their executive producers, I was told, is not the case. But then again, I don't even know who or what's going on right now because everything is in transition. Most of the people in NXT don't know anything, but I was told that the big picture stuff, they are taking over. The new logo, from what I heard, is all Kevin Dunn. So let me get this straight. You want me to believe reports that Triple H is still in charge of the day-to-day operations when this man was never even given an option to disagree or agree on color patterns for a new fucking logo? But you want me to believe that this man is in charge. This man had absolutely no say in the new logo that looks like I'm watching fucking Disney Junior, Nickelodeon Junior. You want me to believe that this man's in charge when he had absolutely no say on what the fucking logo or the colors of the logo would be? Sure thing. Sure thing. The major stuff, it's going to be them, Vince and Bruce. But they're not going to be producing every segment of the show. I don't think. I may be wrong. Oh, Meltzer. Man, you are wrong on that one, bro. They may start off small, but does anything start off small and stay small in WWE? No. Alvarez says this, and I quote, "That's interesting because I heard from a lot of people, and it's very clear that nobody is exactly sure what's going on or what's going to happen because there were people that said that Vince was going to be hands-on, whatever that means. I think that probably is what's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of rumors until the day it happens, and once it happens, everyone is going to find out exactly what it all means." Meltzer confirmed that Triple H no longer has the same power and his father-in-law is taking over. Meltzer said, "Definitely, Paul Levesque certainly has lost power. There's no doubt about that, and McMahon and Prichard are going to be in charge of the big picture stuff." So all the important shit, Bruce and Vince are going to be a part of and are going to be in control of. So what exactly is Triple H going to be in control of? How does that mean Triple H is still in charge of the day-to-day operations? Yeah, the day-to-day operations meaning getting talent trained, getting talent signed, getting talent into the performance center, getting them into a class with Matt Bloom. Those are the day-to-day operations. NXT is not day-to-day operations. We don't see NXT 7 days a week. What happens on Tuesday night is going to be in the hands of Vince and Bruce. What happens on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, back to Monday again is Triple H. See, that's the way it comes off weird to people. Oh, Triple H is still going to be in charge of what? Tuesday night? No, he's not. No, he's not. He's in charge of the day-to-day operations, meaning the 6 other days that NXT doesn't air, Triple H is going to be in charge of. Vince and Bruce, they're going to be in charge of Tuesday night. 100%. Use your fucking brain power, geeks. Triple H has 0 power. The only power he has is to tell the secretary that he's out of blue ink. I need more copy paper for my printer. Stat. But when it comes to Ciampa and Gargano and MSK and Shit Row, because that's exactly what they're going to turn into when Bruce Prichard and Vince McMahon see fucking Isaiah Swerve Scott and goddamn Ashanti Theodonis rapping on fucking NXT. You think Hit Row is going to remain the way that they are? You'll be looking at Shit Row. Legado del Fantasma, Imperium, the Grizzled Young Veterans, Dexter Loomis. And don't get me started on the women. They can't handle and write for the women on the main roster. You think Vince and Bruce are only coming in? Give me a break. Vince and Bruce are just the start. Then John Laurinaitis is going to come in. Vince eventually is going to replace all the producers on NXT with his own producers. That means John Laurinaitis is going to come on in, and the women division that has been their bread and butter is going to be just as bad as what we see on Friday night. Meltzer wrote in the Observer newsletter that NXT officials were powerless to do anything on the rebranding. But again, Triple H is in charge, right? Triple H is in charge. NXT officials were powerless in regards to anything about the rebranding. The report even claimed that the marketing team of the brand weren't put to work. Prominent figures, such as Vince McMahon, Kevin Dunn, Bruce Prichard, Nick Khan, and John Laurinaitis, had all the influence on everything that happened. The new logo The new logo came from WWE with no input from NXT people. And when it comes to the future of NXT and its rebranding, like I said, those names are the ones that are the visionaries. Alvarez noted how some of the changes are noticeable on the tape shows that they've had recently because they are booking veteran talent against younger talent. Meltzer indicated that some of the veteran talent will be phased out. He said, I've heard many names on the chopping block, and you don't know until it happens, but I've definitely heard names. A lot of the guys who have been there for a long time, those are the names that have been talked about. I'm going to Google right now, NXT roster. We're going to go over right now because what Meltzer said is fucking scary. What Meltzer said is fucking scary. I could see them getting rid of, these are the names in alphabetical order. Boa, I could see him going. You think WWE's going to embrace, or Vince McMahon's going to embrace fucking Zion Shaw? Tien Shaw? The 1,000-year-old lady with Xia Li? No. Done. Boa's gone. Cameron Grimes? I think he'd stay. He's young enough. He's talented enough. Don't know where he's going. Danny Burch? He's an old guy. He ain't young. Drake Maverick? Wouldn't be the first time WWE brought somebody back only to fire them anyway. Isaiah Swerve Scott, Joaquin Watt, Johnny Gargano. I could see Johnny Gargano being let go. He doesn't really fit the criteria. He's a midget. He's not 260 fucking pounds. He's been there a long time. Kushida, Kyle O'Reilly, Pete Dunne, Oni Lorcan, Raul Mendoza, Robert Stone, Roderick Strong, Samoa Joe. Vince McMahon's going to look at Samoa Joe. Didn't I fire you? Santos Escobar, Timothy Thatcher, and Tommaso Ciampa. Tommaso Ciampa just recently said that he's excited about the future of NXT. He's excited to see the change, and change is necessary when it comes to situations like this. Is he just saying that to be a shill? Does he really mean that? Or is he scared for his fucking job and he's saying what needs to be said to keep his job? Aaliyah, from what I know, she's on the main roster. Candice LeRae is pregnant. She ain't going anywhere. Dakota Kai, Ember Moon. She's been there a long time. Gigi Dolan, Indy Hartwell, Frankie Monet, Io Shirai, JC Jane, Jessie Kamea, Casey Catanzaro, Karen Q. Hasn't been used. I guess she's the 1,000-year-old lady, from what I am understanding. She doesn't wrestle, though. The fuck is going on? You're paying her to do what? I could see her absolutely going. Kaden Carter, Kaylee Ray, Mandy Rose, Raquel Gonzalez, Saray, Scarlett, Xia Li, and Zoe Stark. I don't know who is going to be on the chopping block. I don't. You know, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano stick out. Pete Dunne's a free agent. Oni Lorcan, Danny Burch, I could see them going. You know, these are not spring chickens. WWE is in a situation right now where they've already killed NXT. If any other people are cut, people don't care now. Why would you turn any more people away from something that you've already killed? It is amazing to me. But one thing is for certain. Anybody that tells you otherwise, that Triple H is in charge, I think I've done a very admirable job at showing you and telling you why that is not the case. Bruce Prichard and Vince McMahon will be in charge regarding everything on Tuesday night. Triple H, in regards to the day-to-day operations, sure. Every other day but Tuesday. Triple H has been actively blackballed and removed from the face. The company has removed this man from the top position of NXT because this man failed at beating AEW on Wednesday night. Might as well just release him and send him over to TK2. At least TK will show him some level of respect that he certainly isn't getting from his fucking father-in-law. Now, I'll tune in to watch September 14th. Apparently, the rebranding is supposed to be happening on September 14th. I'm going to tune in. I may even go live. If it's a Bruce and Vince production, I feel like the negativity is going to actually make it a popular thing on Tuesday night. So I may actually go back to reviewing NXT on Tuesday night. Because you know it's going to be a fucking shit show. If there's one thing I love, it's breaking shit down that Bruce and Vince do wrong. But if you ain't on Triple H's side here, man, if you don't feel bad for what this man did, all the brilliance and everything perfect that he brought us regarding NXT. NXT, back in that phase, 16, 17, 18, 19, was some of my most cherished moments watching professional wrestling. If you don't feel for this man and stand behind this man in support after what this company has actively done, all you're hearing is stories that aren't going to tell you what I told you. Because they don't want to paint a bleak picture. They don't want to paint a grim picture. They want everything to be, oh my God, change is good, colorful logo, and there's new changes. Give it a chance. No. Triple H took a chance on doing NXT. It got to a point where he made it the most popular brand in all of pro wrestling. They didn't like it from the get-go, did Bruce and Vince. They saw this, and as soon as that happened, and the height of popularity was reached, every action internally was to cut this man down and remove him, set him up for failure. They finally got what they wanted. Now Triple H is powerless, the brand is dead, and nobody gives a shit. Not only do we get Bruce and Vince on Monday and Friday, now we have to sit through it on Tuesday night. If you decide to invest your time into NXT once again, which at this point, I don't think anybody will. The glory days are over. As soon as the news came out that Vince and Bruce were actively in charge, this is the day that NXT died. It will never be the same again. But we have the WWE Network to go back and watch everything that Triple H did right and watch everything that Vince and Bruce are never going to live up to. That's the one thing that I have in my back pocket. When things are bad, I can go back and watch everything that Triple H did right and what the future of WWE should really look like. And what it should really look like is the opposite of what we're going to see with Bruce and Vince on Tuesday night. Thank you guys for joining me on the second half of the podcast today, man. It is episode 389 for your Saturday, September 4th, 2021. Fall is here, guys. Fall is here, and I know we could all use a little stiff breeze. Now, I'm not talking about Tyler. I'm talking about Blue Chew. Today's show is sponsored by my good friends over at BlueChew.com. Confidence can take you guys far in life. That is in and out of the bedroom, especially when it comes to stepping up to the plate when that opportunity arises, man. That's where Blue Chew comes into play. It's a unique online subscription service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable tablets, and it comes at a fraction of the cost. You guys can take them anytime, day or night. You can plan ahead, be ready, like I said, when that opportunity arises. The process is very simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed online medical providers, and once you are approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part, it's all done online. So no doctor's visits, no awkward conversations, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. It's all done online. And the tablets are made in the USA. They are prepared and shipped direct to your door in a very discreet package. Guys, it's time to get off the couch. If your tool needs an upgrade, I got a special offer for everybody listening to the show today. Head on over to BlueChew.com. Use code JD at checkout. All you guys have to do is pay the $5 shipping and handling. That's BlueChew.com. Promo code JD to receive your first month free. And visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And I want to thank them for once again being a great friend and a great sponsor of the podcast right here for episode 389 of Off the Script. AEW Rampage. AEW Rampage, man. We got ratings. Number one on cable. But the ratings itself dropped. The live viewership numbers are for Rampage this past Friday, 722,000 viewers. 0.34 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic on TNT in the 10 p.m. time slot. Last week's show did a 1.129 million viewers with a 0.53 rating. That is the highest rating the show has done for AEW in general, really. I think that was one of the highest ratings of all time for AEW. The premiere episode did 740,000 viewers, so they are right where they need to be as far as the ratings are concerned. Number one on cable, that is what TNT is looking for. The 0.34 in the 18 to 49 demographic, that is what TNT is looking for. If you are TNT, you are looking at Rampage already 3 weeks in, a huge, huge success. Everybody knows that the ratings were going to drop after CM Punk's debut, which was watched by 1.341 million viewers on average in the opening quarter hour. Rampage ranked number one in the top 150 shows on cable for the entire night, up last week from number 2. That's according to Showbuzz Daily. They reported that news. The episode featured Jurassic Express versus the Lucha Brothers. This was the finals of the AEW Tag Team Eliminator Tournament that they had. Winners get the Young Bucks inside a steel cage at All Out. Tay Conti versus the Bunny. And then Kenny Omega and Brandon Cutler with Don Callis against Christian Cage and the Elite Hunter, Frankie Kazarian. Not much really going on as far as last week's Rampage, but listen, man, 10 p.m. time slot, AEW is killing it. Still killing it, and it was the number one show on cable for all of Friday nights. Tony Khan wants AEW Dark to be more like WCW Worldwide. Tony Khan had a conference call this past week for All Out. Tony Khan was asked about moving Dark's location to Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida. Khan confirmed this news while saying he wants to present something that is similar or close to WCW Worldwide and give it that feel like it was back in the day. Cassidy Haynes of Bodyslam.net reported the following on Khan's response. Tony is asked about Universal being the new home of Dark. He talks about the history of the building, about the platform for Dark and Elevation. He puts over Thunder Rosa and others for helping work with their developmental talent. Compares Dark to WCW Worldwide. Now, we don't know when AEW will begin filming Dark and their YouTube shows at Universal Studios. They filmed footage for Dark prior to Dynamite this week, so those tapings will obviously not start immediately. A lot of things could change around as All Elite Wrestling settles into a new way of operating, and I think after All Out, it's going to be a dawning of a new era, per se, for AEW as we move on to Arthur Ashe Stadium, Grand Slam for September 22nd, and then whatever else Tony Khan's got planned in the pipeline for AEW. I talked about this with Jesse on Wednesday's show. I like destination locations, especially for these lower tier shows. NXT was great at Full Sail. I loved Full Sail University. Now, watching from home and you're flipping the channel to see Full Sail University compared to AEW in front of 10,000 people, clearly, just based on visual presentation and perception from the viewing audience at home, just by that, fans aren't stupid. You see which is the bigger deal. TNT, AEW, 10,000 fans. WWE, NXT, 450 fans inside Full Sail. It's very easy to pinpoint the big differences regarding both of those shows. That's one of the reasons why NXT failed against AEW. But as far as this is concerned, I like it because it gives those shows a sense of importance, which right now they don't have. Right now, they're just dark matches. Having this show at Universal Studio is going to have it take on a whole new identity for itself. And I think that's a great thing. I really do. You got people who are specifically going to be on there. It's going to be used as a developmental system. That's exactly what it's used. I said this even during the pandemic. Dark was probably the most important show during the entire pandemic because it gave everybody an outlet in the world of professional wrestling, indies and beyond, a platform to show up, get an opportunity, get used on Dark, show what you got. Can you be here? Can you hang? Does AEW have any interest in any of these people? It gave everybody an opportunity. I know I've seen a ton of Hog guys, a ton of House of Glory guys go over there and do their thing. It's a great opportunity. I like that they're moving this show to Universal Studios, or at least that's the plan. It gives it a sense of importance. It's going to be used as a developmental for everything else. So if you're on Dark and you thrive in that one location, then you get called up to the big leagues. I think that's a great thing. I think Tony Khan is really doing great by making that his new home for Dark. I can't wait to see what happens there. And that's where Impact used to tape their old shows. TNA used to tape their old shows. So he's obviously got a plan. And whatever he's doing is working. I'm very excited to see what happens with this move. SmackDown 827 ratings increased for SummerSlam Fallout. Friday show averaged 2.250 million viewers on Fox. I guess the man is a draw, huh? That is up from last week's show, which did a 2.102 million viewership. That's according to Showbuzz Daily. And the all-important 18 to 49 demo show did a 0.59 rating. That is up from a 0.57 the show did last week. This was the second best number that SmackDown has done since fans returned on July 16th. This episode featured Bianca Belair versus Carmella, Liv Morgan, and Zelina Vega in an elimination fatal four-way match. Ridiculous. I did enjoy it for the little bit that Liv Morgan and Bianca Belair went in there, but Carmella and Zelina got to get the fuck off TV. They really do. Cesaro defeated Chad Gable. Sami Zayn defeated Dominic Mysterio. Finn Balor and the Street Profits. Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford. They wrestled the Bloodline. It wasn't really a match, but they kind of set up where these feuds are headed. So we got Finn Balor challenging Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship, which is happening Friday. It's Friday now as I record this, happening in a couple hours. And then Jimmy and Jey Uso probably will be set up to face the Street Profits for the tag team titles. Both of these matches, I assume, are going to be a big deal at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. I think we'll get some sort of fuck finish during the Balor and Roman Reigns match. I do not think that this is going to be just for this show. I think this is going to be the Extreme Rules main event for the Universal Championship. And Jey and Jimmy Uso versus the Street Profits. I mean, I would have really held off on that. I would have held that for later in the year, but we're getting it, and it should be decent. Both teams are great, but it doesn't really do anything but mask the problems that WWE has as far as tag team wrestling is concerned. These are legitimately, outside of Gable and Otis, and who else is on that show? I don't even know. Legitimately, the only tag teams on this show. Can't operate with 3 or 4 tag teams on one brand and call it a tag team division. But I complain about that every week. But SmackDown was not good at all. People said Rampage wasn't good. Neither was SmackDown. SmackDown was very paint by the numbers. Also, SmackDown is getting preempted in October. The Fox schedule is obviously going to be catering to the MLB playoffs. That is starting in October on the 15th and on October 29th. The Fox schedule lists the American League Championship Series for October 15th, and Game 3 of the World Series will air on Fox on the 29th. There's an ALCS game in between the 15th and the 29th, but that will air on FS1. So SmackDown will be preempted for these 2 baseball games on Fox. So look out for that. That is October 15th and October 29th. AEW Dynamite, they stayed above 1 million this week. Charts #1 on cable for the all-out go-home show. Dynamite drew 1.047 million views, which was down from the 1.172 it did the previous week, which was the best viewership the show has done since April 14th, thanks to having CM Punk's second AEW appearance in Milwaukee. The 18 to 49 demographic, it did 0.37, which was down from the 0.48 the show did last week. So CM Punk is indeed a draw. Dynamite ranked #1 in the top 150 shows on cable for the night, the same as the #1 ranking last week. So Dynamite, AEW continues to do their thing. The Young Bucks and the Good Brothers versus the Lucha Brothers and the Jurassic Express. Kind of overwhelming with the ending, a little drawn out, played out, but it built up to the steel cage match at All Out. And Tony Khan and AEW are painting a picture that, you know, once the cage is down, nobody will be able to leave and nobody will be able to get in. But I think we all know that with these steel cage matches, it is never a case of people being kept out of the cage. There's always some fuckery. We'll see what happens, but Rey Fenix and Pentagon Jr. in a steel cage match, man. I expect someone to die in Chicago. Brian Cage versus Powerhouse Hobbs. Orange Cassidy versus Jack Evans, which I have news on in just a second. FTR with Tully Blanchard versus Santana and Ortiz, which was great. Best thing on the entire show. Penelope Ford versus Tay Conti. CM Punk had an appearance where he was beat down by 2.0 and Danny Garcia. And then all three of those guys got their ass kicked. GTS, a Stinger drop, Scorpion Death drop, and a Coffin drop on all three guys. So that's that. That was the go-home show for Sunday's all-out pay-per-view. I honestly said on Wednesday that I think AEW is really riding the coattails of this CM Punk appearance at All Out. I think that they're really banking on that. Meanwhile, Jericho and MJF have a huge history, and the Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks have a huge history. Kenny Omega and Christian have had some story in the last few weeks, but outside that, man, I'm excited for Miro and Eddie Kingston. Pac and Andrade, that was my most anticipated match, but that got pulled for travel reasons. I'm assuming with Pac, because he's in the United Kingdom, but seems like AEW is just throwing a bunch of shit at the card, or for the card, and they're really banking on CM Punk. The build hasn't really been AEW-esque as far as what we have come to know about their builds for pay-per-view. It's going to be a major night. And Daniel Bryan is all but confirmed to be making his debut on Sunday night. They fast-tracked that, says Cassidy Haynes of BodySlam.net, because of the restrictions that are going to be coming down in New York City. They don't want that debut ruined, because now you need a vaccination ID to get into Arthur Ashe Stadium. So they're fast-tracking Bryan's debut. It's happening at All Out. Where he shows up, I don't know. Is it going to be in the main event? Is it going to be in the steel cage match? Is it going to be against Andrade? Is Andrade going to have a match? We don't know. So we'll see what happens. Maybe he just comes out and announces that he's there and he's got nothing to do with anybody. But I don't think that would be fun. So AEW, I mean, it's going to be a major historic night. And I'm very much looking forward to it. I'll be there, and I hope to see you guys at the meet and greet at Granite City Brewery on Saturday, September number 4, which is today at 8 p.m. So make sure you guys show up. Orange Cassidy and Jack Evans, speaking of which, this was one of the matches on Dynamite this week. It ended prematurely in the picture-in-picture commercial break. Now, the reason why this was done, Meltzer says, talked about this with Alvarez. They revealed that this was done on purpose rather than it being a timing error on AEW's part. According to Alvarez and Meltzer, it was AEW's way of telling fans to pay attention during the picture-in-picture breaks, because you never know what could happen. Cody Rhodes has previously discussed finishing matches during commercial breaks during an appearance on Talk is Jericho. Rhodes discussed breaking the rules of pro wrestling at length on the podcast. Specifically, Rhodes discussed his dog collar match with the great late Brody Lee. He, meaning Lee, was really adamant on that. Going into commercial, we do a really big bump in the commercial. Again, another one of the rules. You can't give anything away in the commercial, so you can, and I love that. I love that here. I'm waiting for us to do a finish in the commercial. Here's what you missed. End quote. Cody, let me tell you something, brother. Nobody watches the picture-in-picture commercial breaks. They are still commercial breaks. I'm not squinting my eyes in front of my TV to watch something that happens in picture-in-picture during Orange Cassidy and Jack Evans. It's not going to happen. The picture-in-picture commercial break is like a fucking mirage. You think that you're watching pro wrestling, but what you're watching is commercial and noise from the commercial. I don't care. Now, I get what he's trying to say. I just think it's a ridiculous way of having it happen. You gotta watch, because you never know what's going to happen. Yes, you could break the rules traditionally that WWE is ingrained in the minds of all these fucking casual idiots. But I don't want matches ending, bigger matches anyway. This is fine, whatever the case may be. I don't want bigger matches ending in I don't want Pac and Andrade ending in a fucking commercial break. Okay? I don't. Now, with the time limits, AEW has given people the opportunity to really think that time limits, they can go the limit, and they have gone the limit, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is, in the past. And that's going to be used as storyline, reasons as to why that happened. That could play pivotally into a storyline, and I love that. I absolutely love that. I get what he's saying, but during this, I don't think anybody really cared. NXT's ratings for Tuesday night, 717,000 live viewers. This is up from the 685 viewers the show did a week ago. 0.17 in the 18 to 49 demographic. Show did a 0.16 1 week ago. It was ranked a measly 23 in the top 150 shows on cable for the night. That was up from last week's number 27. This episode featured Johnny Gargano versus LA Knight, Duke Hudson versus Kyle O'Reilly, Ridge Holland versus Tommaso Ciampa, Roderick Strong versus Ikemen Hero, Saray versus Mandy Rose. Listen, man. Tape shows. I'm not for it. I'm not for it. Lame, lame, lame show. Even though we all hate Bruce and Vince, I think they'll give us more of a reason to watch because of how terrible that they're going to make this show. So we'll see what happens. NXT. Can they do better than 717? I want to see Vince and Bruce do such a better job than Triple H. I want to see. I want to see, even though we all know Triple H hasn't been in charge for a very long time. I want to see them do better than 717. Let's see what happens. Maybe for the first week, just out of sheer curiosity. But I want to see what happens. WWE's bringing back Halloween Havoc this year. PW Insider reported that this theme will be used for an episode in October of NXT. The closest Tuesday date to Halloween is October 26th, but that date being used for the theme has yet to be confirmed by WWE. The first ever NXT Halloween Havoc episode took place last year on October 28th, and that featured Johnny Gargano defeating Damian Priest in a Devil's Playground match. Yeah, easy enough for me to say. For the NXT North American title, and Dexter Lumis beating Cameron Grimes in a Haunted House of Terror match. And Io Shirai going over Candice LeRae in a Tables, Ladders, and Scares match for the NXT Women's title. Also, Shotzi Blackheart was the host of the show. Now, I'm all for Halloween Havoc. I thought that was the best episode of NXT all year, last year. But I don't get why we need to do it again. I really would love to see WWE, if they're so keen on using the Halloween Havoc and they're allowing NXT to use it. I know it won't happen because, it doesn't really matter anyway because Vince and Bruce are in charge. So I want to see if it even comes back after the report from PW Insider. Knowing that it's not a WWE thing, they'll probably get rid of it now that they're in charge there. But I'd love to see it on the main roster. They moved Hell in a Cell out of October. We got Crown Jewel happening in October this year. So I'd love to see that be the pay-per-view of choice for October. It just makes sense, and it gives a special feel to the pay-per-view. That's what I would do. Enough of these weekly theme shows. You did that last year to combat AEW. You're not going up against AEW, being that you're on Tuesday night, so there's no need for a Halloween Havoc. Ooh. Let's give it to WWE main roster and have that be the pay-per-view of choice for October. That's what I would much rather see happen. Monday Night Raw. The rating falls below 2 million as expected. Showbuzz Daily is reporting that the episode averaged 1.907 million viewers on the USA Network. That is down from the 2.067 million viewers the show did last week. The 18 to 49 demo saw the average of 0.54. That is down from the 0.64 the show did last week. That was the highest since April 12th. That was the post-WrestleMania episode of Raw. The hourly breakdown of the 18 to 49 demo, 0.56, 0.57, and a 0.50 in the third hour. So the million viewership hourly breakdown, 1.955, 1.936, and then 1.830. That's hour 1, 2, and 3. Raw was the number 1 ranked show in the top 150 shows on cable for the night, which is up from the number 2 ranking last week. And the reason why the show did so well last week, ladies and gentlemen, is because they came off Summer Scam on Saturday night. This episode featured Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus, which was tremendous. Nia Jax versus Charlotte Flair. Rhea Ripley versus Shayna Baszler. The Viking Raiders versus Jinder Mahal and Veer. And RK Bro versus Bobby Lashley and MVP. Trash. Complete waste of a show, man. That triple threat match, though, with Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, and Sheamus was fantastic. Excellent, excellent match. Monday Night Raw, though, felt like it was incredibly rushed, man. They announced 3 matches on Monday Night Raw that did not air. They announced these matches a day after Raw aired last week, on Tuesday. They got everybody ready for what was happening on Raw. It's almost like they were prepared. They went to class prepared, and they were going to ace this exam. Now, Monday Night Raw, it never aces any exam, but Vince changed everything. None of those matches that were advertised happened, and apparently a loud and angry Vince McMahon reportedly ripped up the Raw script several times on Monday night. Miz versus John Morrison had been advertised, ended up not happening. John Morrison ended up facing Omos instead. I'm assuming the reason why that happened is they want to save John Morrison versus The Miz for Extreme Rules. Maybe. Maybe. But besides that, there was a lot of backstage chaos at Raw. Bobby Lashley was also scheduled to face Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley was scheduled to face Sheamus, I believe, and that did not happen. That did not happen on the show. PW Insider reported that Monday was one of the longest days for creative because Vince McMahon was said to be extremely unhappy with what was originally planned for the show. Mike Johnson reported that McMahon ripped up the script several times. He reportedly asked for new ideas. Some of those ideas were said to be good and others not so good, but he rejected them all before he made the decision on what the new plans would be for the show. So some of the ideas were good, some of them were bad, and then he rejected everybody's idea and just completely wrote the script himself. At 6 p.m. Eastern, there had not been an official decision on what would be happening on the show, which likely explains why so much disappeared from the Raw preview page on WWE.com. BWI cited one source saying that it was the loudest and angriest they've ever heard Vince McMahon on the day of the show. But this is the guy you want running NXT. Can't wait to see the Monday Night Raw script continue to be ripped up and the NXT script to follow suit. Can't wait to see it. Vince McMahon getting angry with Triple H's team writing a show, and then when he gets his feet wet on Tuesday night, rip up the script and write the 2-hour show himself with Bruce Prichard. Burying everybody that we've come to know and love on NXT. Even more. Sounds like quality television to me. One of the terrible matches that Vince added on Monday Night Raw was Nia Jax versus Charlotte Flair. This was fucking awful. How Nia Jax has a degree in pro wrestling, I have no idea. She has a degree in fucking being terrible. And why this woman is on the TV show is a mystery to everybody. But Nia, I think you should book a appointment. Not at the hair salon and not for a mani-pedi, but book an appointment with Matt Bloom at the Performance Center. The only reason why this woman has a job is because she's related to Dwayne Johnson. This was fucking terrible and embarrassing for both women, to be honest with you. Did not make Charlotte look good at all. I thought she was the best of all time. Yet here she is, not being able to carry Nia Jax, of all people, to a good match. Sasha Banks did it. Sasha Banks probably gave Nia Jax the best match of her career. Now, it seemed like both women appeared to be agitated with each other during the match. There were some hard slaps and kicks towards the end. Flair stopped the Samoan drop spot and did an awkward scorpion death drop. Fans speculated that they were even shooting on each other in frustration. Now, PW Insider provided some details on what happened in the match after taking, watching this with open eyes and watching this and taking this in on Monday night. People were wondering, is Nia this terrible? Is Charlotte this bad? Do they legitimately hate each other? So Mike Johnson spoke to several sources per the report. The match did go very off the rails. And there were some real slaps and punches thrown in there, and there was some sort of breakdown in communication. There was a brief yet legitimate confrontation inside the ring. Once the match was coming towards the end, they got back on the same page and went to the original finish. After the match, it was said that there was no issue between Nia and Charlotte backstage. And following Jack's win, which she did beat Charlotte, which I don't get, Nia pinned Charlotte clean after Charlotte made a big deal about being the best ever and beating Nikki Trash, and stopping the almost superhero, only to turn around and lose and look like an idiot, losing to Nia Jax. Following Jack's win, it appears WWE will now book a title match between Flair and Jax at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view next month, although this has not been confirmed. WWE producer Devon Dudley commented on the match on his Table Talk podcast and revealed that Nia and Flair handled it well, and it didn't lead to anything backstage after their encounter in the ring. He added that if WWE decided to book a rematch between the two stars, it would be box office. He also explained that what happened was a misunderstanding. He says, and I quote, "I love both these ladies and wish them nothing but the best. If they have another built-up match, you best believe people are going to be watching. That's one of the great things about what happened on Monday. When you get these two in a rematch, people will be watching and will want to see every little thing. I guarantee people will be nitpicking and watching every single move. The two ladies had a misunderstanding. They solved it. Now we move on." End quote. It still doesn't understand why Nia Jax is allowed to step in between the ropes, Mr. Dudley. Nobody's going to be watching because they enjoy watching Charlotte Flair and Nia Jax wrestle. They'll be watching to pick apart this match and have even more reason to know why Nia Jax should not be in a fucking wrestling ring. And why Charlotte Flair is absolutely overrated. Overrated. And where's Alexa Bliss? I'm not a big fan of Alexa Bliss, especially with the fucking creepy doll shit. But didn't Alexa Bliss come out last week and stare down Charlotte Flair? Wasn't that supposed to be the program? I guess they're holding off on that for now. I mean, I know it's a conundrum. When Bruce and Vince have their two favorite blondes in the same match, who wins? Who wins? Nobody wins. Only Bruce and Vince win because their two favorite blondes are on the TV, sharing the screen at the same time. But Alexa Bliss wasn't on the show. But I'd much rather get Alexa Bliss in Charlotte than fucking Nia Jax in Charlotte. At least Charlotte isn't going to look like a blithering idiot. And Alexa is much better than Nia. I mean, I could probably get in there and fucking do the same thing Nia Jax does and at a higher level. Devon is an idiot. Box office? There's nothing box office about Nia Jax. Put Nia Jax in a box and ship her to the fucking Performance Center. That's the only thing I want to see, in a box. Alexa Bliss, Miz, where were they? They were pulled from the show. Alexa Bliss noted on Twitter that she was backstage at Raw, but she was not used. WrestlingNews.co was told that there were plans for Bliss to appear on the show, but after Vince ripped up the script, she was left off the show. I guess that Vince forgot his favorite blonde. Same thing's happening with Toni Storm. 7 weeks, Toni Storm's been off SmackDown. Where is she? Where is she? That woman has no value to the company? As far as The Miz, no one seems to know. PW Insider reports that he was not backstage at the show at any point, and there's no word on why he was not there. Miz was scheduled to face John Morrison on the show. But instead, we got John Morrison versus Omos, which was just as bad, if not worse, than the fucking Nia Jax and Charlotte match. Botch after botch after botch. Nobody looked good. Now, Miz is going to be on Dancing with the Stars, so I don't know how that's going to play into what he's got going on WWE TV. And like I said, maybe WWE axed this match because they want to do it at the pay-per-view instead of Monday Night Raw. I don't know. I don't know what his line of thinking is, but Monday Night Raw, in a nutshell, was fucking awful. Every bit of it was awful. Watching the Omos Morrison and Nia and Charlotte match, that's all you need to see. That's all you need to know about the current WWE product on Monday night. Awful. And finally, guys, if you already didn't know, Bobby Lashley versus Bill Goldberg is being planned. The rematch is being planned for Crown Jewel. WWE is returning to Saudi Arabia on October 21st. Not the 22nd, like I had originally stated before. October 21 for Crown Jewel. The first big match revealed for the show will be Goldberg challenging Bobby Lashley for the WWE title, which is a rematch from SummerSlam earlier this month, which saw Lashley successfully retain over Goldberg in a referee stoppage. WrestleVolt reported the news this week on Twitter. As if it wasn't obvious, sources state that WWE is planning Lashley versus Goldberg to take place in Saudi Arabia in October. End quote. Great. I didn't want to see it the first time. Who asked for it the second time? After their match at SummerSlam, Lashley attacked Goldberg with a steel chair that eventually led to Goldberg's son Gage hitting the ring to make the save for his father, only to be choked out by Bobby Lashley. It was previously reported that WWE will hold the finals of the King and Queen of the Ring at Crown Jewel as well. Goldberg has one more match left on his current WWE deal that expires next year. WWE posted this video on Monday where Goldberg sent out a message to Bobby Lashley saying that he was going to rip his soul out of his chest and get revenge on what Lashley did to his son, Gage. Now, does this mean Goldberg has one match left, period, between now and the end of next year? Or does this mean that WWE is going to give him one more match this year with extra bonus and do 2 matches next year for his contract obligations? I don't know. But if this leads to him only having one match left and they're doing one now instead of waiting next year, I guess that's okay. As long as Goldberg gets off my fucking television and is off WWE TV. But who does he wrestle? Who do we want to see wrestle Bill Goldberg? clearly with his contract, and we know the matches left on his current contract, he ain't winning the WWE Championship. He's not. Who knows when that one match is going to happen? Bobby Lashley is not losing the WWE Championship. This should be a setup for Lashley and Reigns at Survivor Series. Then you get Lashley and Lesnar build till WrestleMania. Nobody gives a shit about Bill Goldberg. Go away and go work on your fucking, go work on your Corvette, you fucking geek. Get off my television. You're a waste of everybody's time. Guys, I'm getting out of here. I'm in Chicago. I will see you guys at the meet and greet. Granite City Brewery, 8 p.m. Saturday. Join us for some cold drinks. Jesse and I will be there. It's going to be great. And then I will be all out on Sunday. Live stream on Monday afternoon. Should be awesome. Make sure you guys tune in to that. Set your notifications. Everything will be set up for you guys right as I get to Chicago, man. I will set all that up for you so you know when and where to show up. Follow me on social media, guys. At JD from NY206. That's Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. Go get your t-shirts. Everything you need is linked under the video player right now. Click the shirt you want. It'll take you right to bonfire.com. Patreon.com if you guys want to support through the Patreon page. Go check out all the other videos that you might have missed on the channel. Hit that thumbs up down below. Hit the subscribe button as well. Turn on the bell for notifications. And go check out my great friends over at Blue Chew, bluechew.com. Use code JD at checkout to get yourself a free sample. All you have to do is pay the $5 shipping and handling. Guys, have a great weekend in Chicago. Have a great weekend in general. And I'll see you back here on Monday for not only the All Out post show, because I'll be attending the show live, but I'll be right back live on Monday night with Raw as well, man. Going to be a busy, busy day. Make sure you guys got your notifications set. Have a great weekend. Hopefully I'll see you all in Chicago. Until then, guys, have a great time this weekend. CM Punk, Darby Allin, MJF, Chris Jericho, Daniel Bryan debut should be historic. See you guys later.